Tonight is the second night of our social and economic empowerment end of year summit as we prepare ourselves towards the coming year. We want to have your mind settle around, or even something for your mind to be engaged with after we have spent so much time in prayer, so that whatever we are doing in the next couple of days into the new year, we are guided and we are focused. And tonight, we are so much blessed to have one of our uncles. We call him Uncle Joe, but he's an elder of the church. And he goes to the Church of Pentecost in Oakville. Oakville is in Ontario, and it's under the Scarborough area. Our dear uncle and elder is married to Dr. Mary Ashun, who is the principal of GIS Ghana, Accra, and they have 3 adult children. Joseph is a professional engineer, founder, and then CEO of Yorktown Business and Technology Consulting, Inc., based in Mississauga, Ontario. Our father and uncle, Joseph, is a fiscal asset management advisor to the Ernst and Young Metals and Mining Group in Ontario, Canada. Once again, he has a bachelor's degree in marine engineering from Alexandria Maritime Academy, Egypt, and a master's degree in engineering from the University of Southern Queens, Australia. And so we want to humbly, even as by way of introduction, read a little bio about our uncle. We want to humbly engage him. Currently, he's on vacation in Ghana, and it's 1:36 a.m. in Ghana. Yet he's connected and he's joined us even from Ghana. So, Uncle, on behalf of the leadership of the church here in Saskatoon and the entire church membership, first and foremost, we want to say God richly bless you for accepting to come and impact your young nephews and nieces here in Saskatoon, and then also exposing them to other areas of life that we might not have that privilege of being exposed or being aware of. So thank you very much, and God bless you for the sacrifice. It's 1 a.m. You should be sleeping by now, but you've said yes to God and to the church here in Saskatoon, and we say a very big thank you. So I know that we would leave you to engage us with some presentation, but briefly, I just wanted to ask before you take over, how long have you been in Canada, and how did you come through school? Did your wife bring you here? How? I know of one man's story who came through. He came through by the sea, by the ship. I know one man in Ontario, yes.
So we came from the States. We got married. I started off my career as a marine engineer, and I used to sail. Became a first-class engineer on the ships. Worked in Singapore, worked in the States, worked in the UK as well. And then I met my wife, Dr. Mary, in London, England. So we got married in 1991. Wow. And then she got a scholarship to do her PhD in biochemistry in Buffalo. So we moved to Buffalo. So when we moved to Buffalo, New York, and then as she was doing her PhD, I started doing my master's in engineering at the University of Buffalo. Halfway through the course, we decided to apply for the London immigrant. We attended a seminar, and they said Canada, what do you call it? They were looking for a lot of engineers. So I applied for the London immigrant, thing. And, unlike today, it took literally maybe a month and a half. I applied in September. By November, everything had been approved. And I came first in 1994. And she finished her degree, and our first son, Beku, was born in Buffalo. So they joined me in Canada in 1996 after her PhD. So that's how we came to. We came London immigrants from the States. In the States, I was working part-time as what we call a project engineer for a defense contractor. For a defense contractor, and let me sit over here. See our here. Yes, I was working for a defense contractor in the States. Like I said, my background is marine mechanical engineering. I focus in what you will call engineering reliability, which it means machines, mostly big assets, why they fail and what makes them fail. So we advise companies, mostly mining companies, oil and gas companies, mostly any companies that has big assets. But we focus on what we call asset intensive companies. So I moved to Canada, and I was a maintenance manager for Marietta. Marietta is a manufacturing company that produces all the soap amenities in the hotels. From there, I joined Pricewaterhouse as an engineering consultant. I was in Pricewaterhouse. So from Pricewaterhouse, I joined IBM also as an engineering consultant. Between IBM and PwC, I spent maybe 9 years as I became a principal consultant. And then I joined Barrick Gold, which is the largest gold mining company in the world, in Toronto. I was there. I was in charge of what we call fiscal assets. I was a senior global manager for fiscal assets for Barrick Gold. From 2006 to 2018, I spent 12 years at Barrick Gold. Barrick sent me to Australia. That's where I did my master's in mechanical engineering and then project management. And then in 2018, they wanted me to move to the States, and then I said no. So we parted company. So I started my own company in 2018 called Yorktown, and I have been consulting to a lot of the mining companies in Canada and the States, and some in Ghana here. Actually, during the pandemic, I was here working for an Australian company called Persis Mining, but I do a lot of work for Agnico Eagle, I Am Gold, and also I'm on retainer with Ernst & Young, their mining and metals division. And like I said, I have my own business, and when I get contracts, I farm them out to other, my network. I have a network of engineers and consultants that I work for, or we work together. When they get contracts, they assign some to me. When I get contracts and they are too big, I can farm some to them. So that's one of the things that we'll talk about briefly is the power of networking. It's good to network while you are in Canada. All the people that you meet, I think it's good to make sure that you leave wherever you work, or the people that you come across. I think it's good to kind of leave a good rapport. So it makes it easier for you to interact with those in the future for references sake. And there's testimonies that I will give that pertaining to this, but even before I go further, what I want to say is that all the talents and things that we all have is given by God. There's nothing that we do, it seems that we are the one doing it, but we are not alone. God gives us all these talents for a reason, to be able to help others, help the kingdom of God as a whole, just to show how great He is. So all the talents, the people, various talents. And I know, I mean, every time I attend church, I see people who have musical talent, people who have pastoral gifts. I have no idea if you put me, I cannot play any musical instrument whatsoever. So I admire people who sing. I admire people who play the guitar, all sorts of things. So everybody's got different talent, and so all the talents that we have, it is what God is given. There's nothing that we've done to deserve any of these. I think in terms of background, I was born in Ghana, from a pretty, I would say, a bit privileged background, if you like. I went to STS, and I got a scholarship to go to Egypt, Alexander Maritime Academy. And from there, I came to the States, did my apprenticeship in the States, and then started working in Singapore and all those places that I've said. Now, today, I wanted to make it very simple, because starting a business and owning a business can be very complicated. So I decided to make it a lot more simpler. But after that, if someone wants more detail or wants to get a bit more, we can get into that. My email, my phone is, I'm always available. Anytime you can call me, and then we can talk a bit more detail. The advice I like to give, usually the youth and anybody who's also an immigrant in this country, is do not accept the status quo, which means you're going to hear people telling you it can't be done, and there's racism. Is there racism? Yes, there is. Do not let that stop you. If you have a dream, it's the same. People told me, "Oh no, I mean, nobody's going to give you a contract." When I was joining the consulting company, Price, I was the first Black consultant, asset management consultant in PwC when I joined PricewaterhouseCoopers 1998. And even some of the partners were in doubt. So, the clients, they don't want Black people, they want the consultants. And when you go to the States, they want white people. That's not true. As soon as, if you know what you're about, as soon as you start telling them things that will benefit, all these things are really not true. So I like to advise, or especially the youth and everyone else who is being discouraged either by something in their background, something in that they think will stop them, but they feel a burden to do something. Please go ahead and do it. If you want to become a doctor, if you want to become a teacher, you want to become a carpenter, you want to become a sales agent, you want to start your own business, just have courage and do it. So I will put it out there. Now, I have a presentation that I prepared, and like I said, I made it quite simple so that we can. Am I sharing my screen? Can anybody see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen. Good, we can.
Okay. So let me do that, and then it's make it a whole lot easier. Okay, so so what I wanted to talk about basically is there's several types of businesses, but I'm not going to go through all that. I just wanted to show you that the ones we focus on will be the sole proprietorship, and then a corporation, one that's incorporated. But since we're talking about businesses, there are limited liability, there's regular corporations, and then there's professional corporations, there's not-for-profit, like the church, Pentecost is a not-for-profit, and then there's the operating trade names, and then there's general partnership. All these are different kinds of businesses that people can open, and in Canada, you'd be allowed to open any of these businesses. By far, the easiest one, which we're going to take a look, is the sole proprietorship. So the sole proprietorship, as a sole proprietorship, is an unincorporated business, which means we'll talk about the difference between something that's incorporated and something that's unincorporated. Unincorporated means you haven't registered fully articles of incorporation. If you incorporate a company, the company itself acts as an individual, even though you were the one that started the company. If it's incorporated, the company has a life of its own. But a sole proprietorship, you are everything. You own it. That individual, it is the simplest kind of business structure. The owner of the sole proprietorship has the sole responsibility for making decisions. You receive all the profits, claims, and losses, and does not have to separate the legal status from the business. If you are a sole proprietor, you will assume all the risks of the business. The risk extend even to your personal property and asset. What does that mean? What we're saying is that if you are a sole proprietor and you have a business, and let's say you are a plumber and your business is not registered, and you go and fix somebody's plumbing thing in his house, and you make a mistake and his house floods, he can sue you and come after your home, your property, all the other assets that you have, if it's a sole proprietorship. If it's a corporation, if it's a corporation, it's a different story. Now, if it's a corporation, the business is incorporated. Since the business is separate from you, the lawsuit goes to the business and not you, and so it might not affect your house and all the other things. So those are some of the things we wanted to put out there. Now, what are the advantages of this sole proprietorship? It is simple. The structure is simple. You have your autonomy. You can run it and make all the decisions, all the rules, whatever you want. They're easy and inexpensive to set up. You have direct control, decision making. You can call the shots. You can change your mind anytime. You can stop it with very little hassle. You don't need a lot of money to start. You can just sometimes you can even use your name. In Ontario, you might not necessarily have to register formally, although it's good to register formally, but you can use your name and you can get the business going. There are some tax advantages to the expenses and losses. You can offset some of your expenses on your income, but they are not as extensive, and there are limits to what you can deduct and all that. All profits go to you, the business owner, and then you can include that in your taxes, and you'll be taxed. You, the individual, and all the profits and everything will be taxed accordingly. What are the disadvantages? The disadvantages result from lack of, because it's not a corporation. You're together, or it's on a partnership, so you assume all the risks, right? So the risk is not distributed. If it's a partnership, the risk is shared among the partners. If it's a corporation, the corporation carries the risk, and you are independent of the corporation. So it's an important thing to note. The business owner, it says, no corporation to assume liability, risks, and claims are paid from your personal assets. Like we said, if it's incorporated and they come after you, it's going to go to the corporation, not you. So, for example, you don't have to sell your house to settle a lawsuit if it's a corporation. If it's incorporated, you might have to do that. So you have to be cognizant of that. Two, as a business owner, you are responsible for all the debts. You know, if you own the debt, you're there, you are it. And it's also very difficult to raise capital. You know, if you go to the bank and you want to get money for business, they'll give you based on your credit, but you're not going to get as much money as you want if it's a corporation. And I'm going to give some real examples using myself, some of the monies that I got from different organizations, so you can see the difference, right? The difference of how you can easily raise capital when it's a corporation as opposed to individual. It's harder to sell or transfer the business orders if it's solely dependent on your involvement. You know, if it's a corporation, the business runs on its own. So once you're fed up or you're tired, you want to retire, you can either pass it on to your kids or you can sell it to another, you can sell to another individual with your clients and everything, and then they can carry on with the business, as opposed to if it's sole proprietorship, it's a lot harder to be able to do that. So those are some of the things that are in there. And then as we talk about protect of personal assets, it says shareholders are not responsible corporations. That this is the let me go back here so make it a difference. That's the other side of the sole proprietorship. The other one that's not sole proprietorship is a corporation that's incorporated. And if it's incorporated, there's some benefits that the corporation earns if it's incorporated. And one of the big ones is protection from personal assets and creditors. In case the business goes bad or in case you do something, you, the one who started the corporation, your assets and things are protected. They come after the corporation. So if the corporation has nothing, they don't get anything. If the corporation is wealthy, yeah, they might get some money from the corporation. If the corporation is there, but then there's ways and means that to be able to shield corporation from the liability by creating other a corporation within the corporate. It gets a bit complicated. We're not going to get into that, but there are ways and means that you can have other companies or other corporations within the corporation to be able to shield capital or to shield the assets of the, we have something we call operating company that I can set up. For example, if I have my business and I want to buy, let's say a condo, for example, I can create what we call an operating company to be able to own that. And there's some things around that. Like I said, we want to make it simple. I don't want to get into that. So let's just focus on sole proprietorship and incorporated company, which is the one most people go after. Like I said earlier, it's easier to access capital. Corporations can borrow money at lower rates. They can also raise money by selling shares and bonds. I mean, that's in the big picture. But if it's a corporation, you can have shareholders, you can have directors, and each of the directors can contribute. But initially, once you start, if you start a corporation or business, your credit is what's going to be used as a yardstick to be able to see how much money can you get. So let me use myself as an example. So in 2018, I got a payout from Barrick, and I said, okay, so let me do my own business. I'm going to go into business. I spoke to some of the companies. They said, okay, you need to be incorporated before we can do business with you. The big companies don't want to do business with they want to do business with corporations. So I set up the corporation. So I went to the bank I went to TD Bank, and I went to Scotia Bank, and I said, hey, I've set up this company. There's if you go online, which we'll get into, there's Business Development Canada, BDC. You can, when you go there, you can set up the company, and there are other websites as well that can help you set up or incorporate the business. There's a government in Canada website that does that. The other companies that will do it and charge you a little bit of fee. BDC, I used BDC. So after setting it up, I went to the bank, and the bank said, okay. I said, hey, I need money to start a business. And they said, okay, so what are you going to do? I had a business plan, which is very important. I don't discuss it here, but the key thing is a business plan. The business plan is, what is it that the company or the corporation is going to do? What is it? What exactly are you going to do? And then you in the business plan, you're gonna state how you're going to do it. What are some of the threats, your competition? What how are you going to make money? Something to say, hey, yeah, I'm going to be selling oranges. So how are you going to sell oranges? How are you going to get your oranges? Who are your competitors? And so on and so forth. In my case, I had to do a business case like that. And I took it to the bank. Like I said, I went to Scotia Bank, and I went to TD. Right off the gate, Scotia Bank says, okay, based on your credit and based on your business, we'll give you 20,000. We'll give you 10,000 as a line of credit, and we'll give you another 10,000 for as a credit card. We're going to give you a business credit card with a limit of 10,000, and we're going to give you a line of credit for 10,000. That's what I got from TD. Then I went to Scotia. I opened another account in Scotia. Scotia said, okay, we'll give you 25,000 based on your thing. How do you want it? So they asked me, how do you want the 25,000 split? I said, okay, 25,000. With the nature of work that I do, I fly a lot. I go to the mines, and the mines are far away. If I go to Australia, the ticket costs. If I have to fly immediately, the ticket can cost as high as $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, right? Going to Australia. So if a client wants me to be there on Monday, I wouldn't be able to choose when I want to be there, right? So I put 15,000 on my credit card, on that credit card that the bank gave me, and 10,000 on a line of credit. So just by getting a business plan together and maintaining good credit, I was able to raise on the very first day, very first week, because it's incorporated, almost 70,000. I would 20. I got 30 or so from 50, and then I also had saved maybe 20,000. So for my savings in the bank, I had something like 70,000, which was a good way to start. My first client was a company in Halifax, again, how did I get these jobs? I got these jobs. We'll get into detail how you get contracts of various forms, but most of the work you're going to get are from your networking. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know. I created a website initially, thinking, okay, I'm going to create a website, and then from the website, I'm going to get jobs from the website. That was not really what happened. I created a website, but a lot of the people that I'd worked with heard that I left Barrick, and then all of a sudden my phone's ringing. Hey, we heard that you left Barrick. Are you? The first question they're asking me, are you incorporated or not? I said, I'm incorporated. Go good. Can you come over and let's have a talk? We've got some job that we want you to bid for, right? And so you do your homework. How much are you going to charge? If you're a consultant, if you have things that you produce, you need to find out some of these things. And these things show up in your business plan. You survey the market and see as a consultant how much you're going to charge per hour. Do you charge per work? All those things. So you need to figure all those things out. So through that, that's how the initial funding came in here. Now, like I said, I talked about the benefits of incorporation. It doesn't mean that you have to incorporate everything. You can start by your own sole proprietorship, which is simple. So just test the market and see, maybe make some contacts, make some networking, and later on down the line, you can choose to go ahead and then you can do the incorporation thing, right? So what are some of the benefits of incorporation? It builds a better reputation, because your business reputation is not based on the amount of help or Google reviews or whatever it is. It's about the work that you do. You get a lower tax rate because the corporation is taxed lower than your own tax, right? And then it is continuous existence. It's easier to transfer your business. We said that. And then it keeps you, it allows you to keep good records, right? You have to hire an accountant and then account by virtue of having all that, right? That it makes it, you will have to keep good records. And in so doing, you benefit, it makes things very clear. If it's not incorporated and it's only you, you tend to kind of do the business as it comes, and therefore sometimes you mix up your monies with the company's money. It's difficult to set it up. But if you're doing a corporation, so and I've got a business credit card, right? I've got a business account which is separate from my personal account. And at the end of the month, I have a payroll system. I pay myself first, and then whatever is left over, it's for the corporation. You know what I mean? And I pay my personal taxes, and the company also pays its own taxes, right? So it's a much cleaner way of doing things, right? Sources of funding. I spoke about that. Personal savings. And the banks will give you money. At least I got. It's not hearsay. I'm telling you the facts. I got 20,000 from TD. I got 35,000 from Scotia, and I had 30,000 of my own savings. So I started off with like 80,000, right? And I write out a loan from me to the company, Yorktown, of 30,000, which they has to pay me back when the company makes money, right? And I was glad to say the company made money year after year after year after year, right? And this is our third or fourth year, 2018, 2019, 20, 21, 22, and we did well even during the COVID crisis. So where do you get the money from? There's BDC, Business Development Canada. Business Development Canada is a good resource. And again, if your business plan is good, it's easy for them to give money. I got another loan from Business Development Canada for $100,000. It's a loan which paid back. And these loans it allows you to, for example, hire people to do bid documents, just to buttress your financial things that you have in there. But you can get these loans, but to do that, you have to be systematic in your approach. And like I said, some of these applications, do it yourself. Do not listen to people. You can't do it, all that stuff. Just follow it up, read up the material, and then some of these things are not as hard as they seem. Of course, there's government agencies that offer money, and we'll get some of that. There's angel investors. If you have a brilliant idea There's some government agencies and there's some people who can invest in those ideas that you have. There's angel investors, and there's American Express, for example, has got a program that they invest in other businesses, right? So the key thing is getting your business plan in action. Sources of funding, good funding. There's a program called FACE. FACE is a national and bilingual Black-led non-profit organization focused on providing resources and information for Black community across Canada. The aim of accelerating wealth creation in Canadians of African descent. You can get as much as $250,000 from them, right? In partnership with the government of Canada, FACE is created a Black entrepreneurship loan fund to help Black business owners, like I put it there. So these avenues are available. Sometimes we don't know that they're available, but they're available, and this is targeted for Black businesses, right? So you need to articulate what is it that you want to do, right? The business, what exactly are we trying to do? And it's clearly thought out in the business plan. A lot of, especially I find a lot of the youth are so talented. The youth in our churches, the youth, I find there's a lot of them talented in all sorts of ways, which I think that if they put their mind together, not only the youth, those who have immigrated from Ghana, from elsewhere to here, some of them have very good ideas. My advice to you, don't be discouraged. If God puts something in your heart that you want to do something, just focus on it. You have a single mind, get as much information as you can. There's these funding bodies are there to help you succeed, and don't really shy away from some of these. There's this Futurepreneur is funded by RBC and Business Development Canada. You can, as a startup, you can get, I didn't know this, I found this up later on. You can get up to 60,000 for startups, right? You can get more, and they're also available. It's a huge network. So if you have your idea, they will work with you through your ideas to see and help you polish your ideas. And if the ideas are good, they give you money to start up. And I know some of you have excellent ideas because I've met a few of who have excellent ideas. There's Black Innovation Capital as well. There's technology and technology-enabled startups. There's a strong team for Black founders, products fit for market. These are some of the things that they're looking at, right? Pre-seed to seed stage investments based in Canada. Some of these groups have they fund up to 90%, and if you have something that's outside Canada as well, they fund 10% of their stuff is outside Canada. Some of the sources, how do we get contracts? There's a government website, it's called the PWGCSC. It says how to sell to the federal government. If you go there, everything is there. You're going to see the bid documents, how to bid, what are the areas that you can bid. Everything is in there. So if you want to sell something, or you've got an idea, that product or whatever it is, know that the federal government can be a great source, right? The provincial government in the cities, in the city of Saskatoon, right? Or the government of Alberta, or the provinces that you have, they buy stuff, right? They buy stuff and they hire consultants. They are of great value there, that you can start small there, right? Some of them give contracts under 20,000. There's no tender above that. There might be some tender and things like that. And we have proximity to the States. It's a big market. Some of my mining clients are in the States, right? I do work for a company that's called Prometheus, and they are in the States. They have clients that I service every now and then, and they are in the States. So, in a nutshell, what we're saying is that don't limit where you're going to get your contracts from. There's so much stuff out there, right, that you guys can do. Now, the basis of selling the government of Canada, right? It says all these links are there. Later on, I think I will give the presentation to Pastor, and then maybe he can send it around, and people who want to go through can get that. Who's responsible for the government purchases? You understand the phases of procurement, learn about key government programs, initiatives, search for tenders and find opportunities, search for opportunities and resources, buy goods, buy services, how to register to become a supplier. All this information is really, there's a lot of information out there. So in a nutshell, what am I saying? What I'm saying is, it is not as complicated to create your own business as it's made out to be. You can create your own business if you have the passion, there's something on your mind, you think, this is a great way to be my own boss. You can start small, and then you can move on to incorporate. There are a lot more sources of funding, getting money to do what you want to do, than we really think it's out there. The federal government and all these agencies are available, and they are there to help. Like I said, I wanted to make it short, make it simple, use most of my experiences to kind of guide the discussion. So I think I wanted to end here and not get too much technical. I made it simple, and then maybe we'll open the floor for some questions on any topic, racism and business and all that stuff. I'm open to any questions that anybody has, and then so that's really what I wanted to share with you tonight. And then I will hand over to Pastor to kind of moderate the questions. People can ask questions or maybe type into the chat, and then maybe Pastor, somebody can read it out. I can answer the questions. And like I said, feel free to ask any questions related to business, immigration, anything that I've gone through that I have experienced. I'll let you know. And if I don't have the answers, I will look for where to get the answers for you. I think we all have a burden to be able to help help ourselves, basically. So that's, I think I will stop sharing now, and then open the floor for.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very, very much, Church. We want to bless God for the life of our dear that was also an uncle. When you go to Toronto, I believe over here as well, every elderly person is an uncle, and we are blessed to have them with us in our communities. I have personally, I have some questions, and guys, you can also feel free to ask or maybe put it on the chat, and we can read it on your behalf. The funding opportunities that you made mention of, are they available to everyone, or just citizens and or PR, those who are permanent residents?
Well, I think most of the funding, basically there's funding for all groups of people. Let's put it that way. The key is to find which group you belong to and which funding. But most of the funding is going to be for permanent residents and citizens.
Okay.
There's some funding that's geared towards citizens, but I didn't see that there was a difference in the there might be, but most of the funding that permanent residents could get, citizens could get.
Okay.
The jobs are a little different. The contracts For example, I got some job that I was doing for Department of National Defense. You might not get the clearance if you're PR. If you're a permanent resident, you might, if you're a citizen, okay, you will get some of that nature, but that's, I think it's minimal. Most of the funding cuts across board, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Please, you can ask, unmute yourself and ask any question you might have, as well as if you want to put it on the chat, we can read it for you. I like the opportunity once again. I'm just looking at how does someone who really want to start very small, very, very small, like snow is all over on our streets. And do I need to have a business go through all of that to be able to start something here, clearing snows, getting contracts and all of that? Or what do I do?
I think that something like that could be small and could be big, you see, because what the cities do is the cities want to clear the snow, and they have a budget for doing that. If for some reason the city is looking at spending 100,000, and you've got some means of presenting to them and say, hey, you spend 100,000, I can do this for 80,000. Okay, so if you make that business case, in some cities, you are likely to get the contract, or they're likely to give you something to test, and that could be big. That's how a lot of people get in there, right? They see an opportunity, and then they say, okay, it's just like the kids who mow the lawn during the summer, right?
Yeah.
They get a lawnmower. They don't need a business thing, right? That is a small business. You don't need to incorporate. But if it becomes a big company where you have to hire people, now you've got 20 people with lawnmowers, with all sorts of things, then you want to consider, because now money is coming in, and then and it might be time to make it a corporation, and then you're going to get more loan, you buy more equipment. The city can give you a park to be responsible for them in the summer, that you can clear the park and make sure the flowers bloom, not only mow them. So the small lawnmower business, which you're collecting $20 on the block and cutting, or snow removal, that you're removing snow, right? It could explode into a big thing. Right?
Okay.
Yeah. So you can start small. You have your own snow blower, and you go into a gas station and say, hey, or some people buy. You have a truck. You can buy. They buy the scoop. They put it what we call the ground engaging tool. They put it in front of the truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they go to a gas station, 7-Eleven, and say, hey, here's my card. When there's snow, I'll be there. And then you just have, when there's snow, 2 a.m., you get up, you go in the contract, you clear the snow. And then he's going to tell another gas station, and another gas station goes to another gas station. Before you know, you have 3-4 trucks doing the business, doing it, right? So there's all, it's. I mean, I think your mind is the limit. Your imagination for business is the limit. That's why, I mean, look at these Apple phones and all this. I mean, they changed the world because they're thinking of things that people are not thinking about, right? Everything that we have is some kind of business. That's why I have hope in the kids, in the youth, and a lot of people. When you see a need, think about it, right? Think about the need and say, hey, there's a potential here, and don't be discouraged easily. Don't, especially with the race thing. Don't be discouraged too much about it. There's more things you could do than just focusing on the race. Is there racism? Yes, but don't let that hinder you. That's what I'm trying to get across. We've been able to do it, right? We've sat in boardrooms of Fortune 500 companies. I mean, I was in charge of Berry Gold. My budget for running Berry Gold was 1.2 billion with a B a year. I mean, but
Uncle, hold on, what did he say?
yes, and when I was at Berwick, the maintenance budget, I was in charge of Berwick's maintenance budget. And then, but before that, people say, oh, and this person is a minority and is black, they won't give him such a role. Don't listen to that. We're proof that not all the things are said in there. Is there wisdom? Yes. We don't deny that. Don't let that stop you, is what I mean.
Uncle, over here, there are a lot of international students, and most of them might not have even their PRs. I'm just considering, would there be an opportunity that maybe even through your networks, we are speaking about snow, either on a large scale or on a smaller scale. Some of these startup capitals or whatever little that we might think is little might not be available to these guys here. Is there an opportunity for any of, let's say, your network people or anybody at all to say, hey, you know what, I'm just going to get a track or two and start something small in Saskatoon. Just leave this track to the care of these younger folks here that are so passionate and determined to succeed in the land of Canada. And I might be living in Mississauga, but these guys, I'm trusting that they will do a good job by helping themselves and by extension, also being able to manage the situation on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, it's right off the top, it's tough to see the dynamics of what's happening over there. But like I said, it's how a business case is articulated. Somebody sees the business case and articulates, and hey, I want to do A, B, C, D.
Okay.
And I've spoken to Y, Z, Z, and they said, if I got this, they will give me this. Those things are what people who are invested looking for, right? Because people who invest money, it's like the stock exchange, right? We look at the track record of the company, and then we invest in there. So the same logic applies. If somebody wants to do something small, then he needs to study the situation and say, hey, there's A, B, C, D, these are the things. And then we look at what are the disadvantages. Is it possible or not possible? Is it like all those pros and cons? And then by series of elimination, we'll eliminate what's not possible and then see what's possible. And then from what's possible, see whether it's possible to fund something. For those students, those who are students, I know that there are programs that will, at the end of their schooling, help them get their permanent residency. And anybody who wants to stay here, I think it's a great opportunity to do that. It doesn't mean that, I always tell people, it doesn't mean that when you get your PR, you by all means have to live in Canada. No. It's another option open to you, and then you decide, right? But at least you owe yourself that option of trying to get the permanent residency after your studies. And then you decide you want to come back to Ghana and help, fine. You want to work here, you have the opportunity to do that, right? So.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think I had one question that I've just forgotten, but please, if anyone has question, if you want to contribute, feel free to do so and ask Uncle any question. Yes, I just remembered my question. Uncle, I wanted to ask, is there also an opportunity for like you giving a hands-on training to this younger generation that they look up to you and say that I want to come and understudy you. These are my ideas, these are what it is. I want to come and understudy.
So in my companies, if the person, to me, in my situation, if somebody wants to, say, do something with me, the person has to be an engineering graduate. Or somebody doing engineering, or IT. It will lend itself, or maybe even supply chain, right? These areas. This is the areas that I consult in. Most of my consulting, we advise companies. What I do is I'm advising companies why their equipment is failing. Because the assets, these mining companies, that one truck is $5 million. So if they have 20, right, it's 20 times 5. So there are strategies to help them maintain these equipment and not fail. So we come in and use these scientific methods to be able to tell them. But we do that using some technology, some software, some structured approach. On the supply chain side, we get into the supply chain side with the vendors, what to buy, and there's a lot of mix there. So anybody that can work with us or understudy has to be engineering inclined, IT, or supply chain. With that, there could be a possibility.
Okay.
Good background, yes.
Thank you very much, even for accepting that there could be that possibility. Guys, please, everyone on the line, you are free to ask any question.
Some people too might have contributions. It's not the only me talking. Somebody have
there's a question. Thank you. Sister, does a business plan require any expertise?
Can you elaborate what they mean by does a business? I mean, expertise in writing the business plan, or
I want to believe so, but only you can elaborate on that question, please.
Okay,
Yes.
writing, yeah. I mean, I think in the writing the business plan, yes, there are people. Like everything else, they are experts. They're people who you can go to them, pay them money, explain what you want to do, and they can write the business. They will charge you. And then there's also research. You can just take your time, go to the library, go online, see what the excerpts of a business plan are. Right? A business plan includes A, B, C. I mean, if somebody wants a business plan, I mean, I can look for a simple business plan or a model, and then I can send it to pastor. I can send it to them, and you can see what are the things that should be included in the business plan, right? But there are experts, yes, who write business plans, and then you can write. There are certain things that must be in the business plan, which is you can do a research and find that out, and I could help with telling you what those things are, and then you because the business you came up with the idea, you can fill in those things, and then you can give it to somebody to review it if you don't have money. But if you have money, you can get somebody to write it for you, and they charge you some money, and it differs, right? Some very highly technical business plans, they will charge you a lot. Simple business plans, they will charge you not much. And then some of these BDC and all these companies, some of these government agencies, there are some agencies that can help you write the business plan properly, right? And not charge you. But it is key, though. The business plan is very important.
Thank you very much. When you spoke about what is it, BDC, I went online to check, and then right here in Saskatoon, I think they have an office. They have their mission and recommend things that they recommend, business articles, yes, and loan and calculator and all of that. So I think that, okay, Elder, we'll get back to you quickly. I think that the vision and the passion has to be there. And once, yes, your mind is set on it, you go after it.
Yes.
You go after it. Because I believe that as immigrants, I mean, instead of staying in the status quo, like you said, just going to school, graduating, getting employed, and just giving a peanut at the end of the day. Meanwhile, you have so much opportunities out there that you could become, yes, you could become your own, boss.
Yeah.
when I was speaking with the uncle about this program, I'm like, oh my goodness, uncle, you're such a big man. He said, no. Honestly, uncle is a big man, but we are thankful to God that we have him in our community. He's sharing his experience with us. So
far from being a big man.
I think okay, and Apia, you can go ahead, please. I think you raised your hand.
Yeah, Pastor. So talking about the business plan and whether you need expertise in writing it, there is this program that is being run by Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce.
Mm-hmm.
They help Black businesses to flourish in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
They run classes for entrepreneurs when it comes to managing your business. So they teach how to write business plans as part of the classes, and they give you some startup capital as well, but not much.
Excellent. I mean, this is excellent information. Thank you. That's excellent information. See,
yeah. With
yes, every time there's a forum, we learn stuff. I didn't even know that, right?
Yeah. So they teach all that. So if anybody is interested, I can give you the contact, and then you can just Google Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce. They have their email and their phone number that you can call Doug Minter. You can register you and then go through all the necessary training and classes. They give you a certificate after that. Then you can go to the bank and get a loan to start a business as well.
Thank you very much, Elder. Do you pay for the classes sections?
No, everything is free.
Wow.
That's awesome. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I think that, Elder, thank you very much for that information. Uncle Ma, I am burdened. My church is full of young people, and I cannot just sit down.
The young people are exciting. I love the youth. They are so energetic. They are full of potential.
Yeah,
they have all kinds of ideas. I mean,
these guys are so smart. They are so smart.
They are. I mean, incredible.
The potential they carry, God can take them far.
Yes.
So I want to explore all avenues, spiritual and physical as well, get into these spaces. The work of God here, especially in Canada, requires or demands a lot of money. But if our source of inflow is just that small, it's going to be very difficult to support the work. So we're trying our best prayerfully that the Lord would bring some of these informative sections to us so that at least some of them will be encouraged to pick up a few ideas and say we want to run with it. And in the next couple of years, there might be so many Uncle Joeshans in the church all over the country to the glory of God. So please, couple more questions. And I know it's late in Ghana. We would then ask Elder to just, have some rest. But we are very grateful for this opportunity. And it's not going to be the end. We are waiting for you to come back. I'll be in Toronto in February for council meetings. I'll come to Oakville. So guys, please, you can ask any question, any contribution, any comment. Uncle, okay, go ahead. Please forward the Canadian, that is Jocelyn. Please forward the Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce. I am interested. Thank you very much. We'll get that information from Elder and then share it with you. Kindly connect with us after the session. I know you are in Ottawa, so either through our Facebook or any of our social media platforms, and we would be sure to get you that information. I was going to say something, but I think, I was just saying that even though somebody might be in, let's say, agriculture, based on your years of experience, do you really have to stay in your area of study, or you can just have passion about something else that you have access to resources to get started?
I think that on the whole, if you've spent a lot of years in agriculture, you are credible. You know, credibility is important. In the field that I do, I've spent over 25 years in the maintenance and engineering field. So when a client wants to hire me and they look at my profile, it is the number of years I've spent in the field of maintenance, reliability, and asset management. That's why they engage in me. It does not mean that if somebody who is an agriculture, studied agriculture, but has passion for IT or whatever it is, and has spent some time over there as well, and is able to explain and able to articulate and able to understand and able to use whatever it means there. If you're passionate in that area, definitely you'll be able to win converts. You know, it's people want to see passion, want to see understanding, and they want to see that you're thorough on the things in there. But as a rule of thumb, the more time you spend in a certain area is where you build expertise and credibility.
Okay, thank you very much, Uncle. I mean, as we prepare to close, I have learned through your presentation that all that you need to do beyond your passion is to have a business plan.
Yes.
Talking about how we can get it written, either through your research or there are resources out there, and then Elder also put in the Black Chambers something, and he's putting the link there as well. Beyond that, practically, the business plan seems to lead you to get the sources of funding for people to buy into your idea, and then they are willing to support you financially to get something started. And then from there, you build your network, and then also there are other government resources that might also be of help to you. But one thing that I like so much is the fact that I can be in Saskatoon, and in most cases, I'm not sure of what is happening around me. So I just need to look at maybe the city's website and look at things that are happening around and see where it will meet my interest, and then look into how bidding stuff and getting all of that started. It could be as simple as that, and then the Lord will just bless it and explode into something big.
Yeah, and I think somebody put it out there that it's good to have a social media presence, which is very important, especially nowadays, right? So thank you, whoever put that information there. Social media presence, which is Twitter and Facebook and all the other have your website and all that. It is important. But what is key is networking. Right? You're gonna have social media. It's excellent. It's nowadays everybody's out there and on Instagram and TikTok and all that thing. So it's good to be present out there. But networking is key. Right.
Okay. Thank you very much, Uncle. Maybe your final words, and then you would pray and impact this grace that God has given you onto us here in Saskatoon. We want to be the #1 district in the nation. So we are asking that you give us your final words and then profess some declaration over our lives, and then bless us as well.
Yes. I think my final words, especially to the youth, the youth are something that's dear to my heart. Not only the youth, but the young adults and things. And the reason the young adults and the youth are important to me is I became a Christian when I was in Egypt, through Campus Crusade. And when I became a Christian, in Ghana, I was, go to church just normally, but I wasn't really, secondary school and all that. Wasn't really, I understand what the thing was, what it's all about. So by the time I was about to finish, engineering. I was about to finish engineering. Then I became a Christian, and then I was faced with a dilemma. I got a job from Kuwait Shipping Lines, paying me those days. I'm talking 1986. You guys can calculate my age from that. Finished school 1986. And I was a cadet, engineering cadet in the engine room, finished school, BSc, marine engineering, and I was going to be paid £1,200 sterling back then a month. This is the oil boom in the 80s, right? And then there was a missionary ship called the MV Anastasis. They wrote to me and they said, we're looking for missionaries who are also engineers because we're going to go around the world and preach the gospel.
Wow.
And so I was caught in this dilemma. I became a Christian. And then I'm thinking, oh, I'm from Ghana. I need this 1,200. I cannot go and volunteer and go and join this ship. It's a volunteer ship. They don't pay anything. I actually have to contribute $100 a month. And here's £1,200, not even dollars. And all my friends were going. And this ship at that time was in Honolulu. And so I could hear God telling me to go on that ship as a missionary. And the ship needed engineers. And I just graduated as a marine engineer. And the ship is full of Christians going around the world, helping people. The ship had doctors, they had nurses, and I'm sure people know about it. It's called Y1. The ship it came to Ghana, sometimes called the MV Anastasis and the MV Good Samaritan. I was trying hard. It's like the story of Jonah, to run away from not going to the ship. But I didn't want to do it myself because I was being convicted by the Holy Spirit. So I was looking for a way that something will happen so that I would not go until I can tell God, hey, I tried my best to, but I just, So first thing was, I was having to get the US visa to go and join the ship in Honolulu. I was thinking, okay, they were not giving me the visa. I'm not going to get the visa. Then I would say, I tried. They didn't give me the visa. So I was not looking to go. I went to get the visa. Not only did I get the visa, they gave me a 5-year visa straight away. I was looking for money to buy the ticket to go. And the money miraculously just showed up. I got a ticket to go. To cut the long story short, I went to the Anastasis as a missionary. I spent 3 years on the MV Anastasis. As a missionary, we went everywhere. With doctors on board, MV Anastasis, the Good Samaritan. They were doing surgeries. We were building houses. And when I left, the very first application that I sent to work, the very first one, I got a job. The rest, as they say, is history. So that thing that says, seek ye first the kingdom of God, it's a reality. I'm proof. I'm living proof of that. So don't think that all the help and all the things that you do is wasted. This applies to everybody. So let us pray. Father, we thank you for who you are. We thank you for these beautiful and wonderful people that open their hearts and minds. You have given them talents beyond their wildest dream. And we know that you have ordained and empowered them, even from their presence online. Lord, we speak that greatness will come out of them, that they will do wonders, that they will confound their peers, We come against the spirit of fear. We come against the spirit of apathy. We come against any spirits that will judge them, any spirits that will discourage them. Lord, give them boldness. All those ideas that you've given to them, Lord, let it come to fruition. Most of all, bring angels in their path that will help them and guide them. Make them ambassadors of the faith. Lord, wherever they step, give them dominion. Wherever they need help, Lord, give them that help. If they step into government offices, whatever you have spoken of them, their portion, Lord, give them 1,000-fold. Lord, give them a broad smile and give them confidence. Most of all, make them ambassadors of the faith. Let them bring healing to the dejected. We thank you. We thank you for the leadership, that you continue to encourage them and empower them. Give them wisdom, that of Solomon. We thank you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.